And I actually wanted to hop in here and really add a lot more to the and I actually wanted to hop in here and really add a lot more to this section. So now that we've learned about being a modern day video creator, the next section that we're going to get into is improving your creativity and skill set. But what I realized after creating this course is that I wanted to give you a way to combine the direction you want to go with, the content that you want to create, with tools that I've personally really benefited from in choosing how to approach that content and use analytics to really gain certainty on a specific topic type. So, these next set of learning lessons are really going to give you a step by step guide on how to maximize the success of your content, gain more video views, and learn more about your audience so that the ideas that you come up with in the rest of this course are just going to be that much more successful. So, let's get into it. All right, so we have here one of the bonuses for the Better Videos Blueprint course. This is the top tools that I use to ensure that the videos that I produce for Instagram and YouTube are going to succeed before even putting together the actual videos themselves. The first step is choosing the genre um, of content you want to actually create. And this is really what we dive into in this Better Videos Blueprint course. And so you'll get really clear on that. So if you don't yet know the answer to that question, go through the course, okay? Step two, we're going to be talking about creating videos, and you can do this one of two ways. You can just, know the genre. Let's say you want to do filmmaking tutorials, and you just say, okay, today I'm going to do a tutorial on the rule of thirds, or today I'm going to do a tutorial on cinematography. You can do that at random, and you're going to get a certain amount of success. That's totally fine. But what we're talking about today is looking at the keyword analytics online using specific tools that I'm going to show you that give you the exact criteria, numbers, and actual analytics on what is going to be success. So that brings us to step three, which is going to be using these three main tools: vidIQ, Google Trends, and Udemy Analytics. These are the holy grail of really planning out your videos. And like I said, the cool thing is that all three of these are free. The only one that has a potential one that you can buy for a little bit more um, specifications and a little bit more resources offered is vidIQ. The next step after that we're going to talk about is making your list of keywords and topics that you're going to go after, and you're going to turn that list into a schedule, or you're going to turn that list into a checklist of, okay, this week I'm shooting this video, next week I'm shooting that video, and then you're going to go into production mode. This is a topic that we're not really going to touch on inside this course, the production side. I do have two other courses that do dive into that, which you can find in the bonus lecture of the course. So I want to first start here with understanding the actual like analytics and the actual numbers. And I know analytics is kind of a term that not many people use. So when you hear it, it can be like, oh, what does that mean? It just means aggregation of specific numbers. Okay. We're looking at volume of search trends. We're looking at popularity, all that kind of stuff. So if we look at the first tool that I like to use here, which is called vidIQ. Now, once we look at this website, there's going to be two important numbers, okay? There's going to be the monthly search volume. This means how many times a month people have searched a specific topic, okay? If the number is 50,000, that means in the last 30 days, that specific word or topic has been searched 50,000 times. The overall search score, and don't worry, we're going to go over all this. I'm just overviewing it now so that when we're looking at it, you guys know exactly what we're doing. So the overall search score, the OS, is the combined overall search of the search volume, the popularity, the current videos already in that topic, competition, how many people have already made videos that use that keyword. It just gives it an overall score on a scale from 0 to 100. 100 being a very good score, 0 being no, you don't want to create a video on that topic. Um, so that's going to be another specific keyword we're going to take a look at. Now, if we move to our second tool, we're going to be looking at Google Trends. And this is going to be on a 0 to 100 scale. And this is going to represent the internet search volume in the past 12 months. So 0 being the lowest, 100 being the peak of that topic's popularity. The reason I like using this one in conjunction with these other three is because each one of these really gives you a different perspective on the same type of data. This is going to give you really a very focused look into specific keywords and how they're performing on YouTube, which is the second most used search engine on the entire internet, by the way. So that's very practical and very much applicable to a large audience. Now, the Google Trends is going to give you a basic kind of trajectory map where you're going to see a graph of if it's going up in popularity, if it's going down in popularity. It gives you more of that trending kind of um, day to day, week to week, month by month, play by play of where a topic is going. So we're going to get more into that, but basically this can give you a number that's high for a specific topic on Video IQ, but there could be topics out there that have a low score today, but you'll see on Google Trends that they're actually trending up, and it from what it looks like from its trajectory, it's gonna be a higher scoring topic that you want to be one of the first creating videos in that genre. It'll all make sense when we get there. Lastly, is the Udemy one. Now, this is kind of a little extra one that I throw in here. You can really get away with using just these two main ones as a video creator, but having three different references really gives you a balanced overview of a specific direction. You know, having two things, maybe both score decently on these first two, and then on Udemy, your word scores really well or really bad, that's going to give you a third perspective on whether or not it's really a good idea. Because the biggest thing here is you don't ever want to create a video that's not going to do well. That's a huge waste of time for you and for people who either don't watch it, or don't care about it, right? So what we're doing here is working to save you time before you go into production. But basically, Udemy is going to show you the monthly demand for a specific topic and its monthly revenue of the amount of money that that number of courses that has that topic is bringing in every single month. Now that you guys have an overview of these three tools we're going to use, now we're going to hop into these tools one by one and really see how you So if we first take a look at vidIQ here, you obviously can see a list of topics I've already went through and mapped out which are performing well. So before I dive into my list, I want to first actually show you guys the platform so it'll start making sense. All right, so it's plugged into my YouTube channel, so we can obviously see some of my YouTube statistics here in the last month. But what I'm going to do here, and by the way, you're going to go on this website and you're going to create your own account and you're going to connect your account for free because there are a few different settings here. I'm just using the basic one. I think I was using the Boost $49 a month before. The Pro is going to give you a few more options, but you really don't have to worry about that. I just log on to vidIQ and create a free account and connect that account to your YouTube channel. Okay, so once you create your account, you're going to go up to the SEO tool. Now, there are a few other tools in here that are pretty handy, but that's beyond the scope of today's video. So what we want to do is really focus in on nailing down a great keyword for your video. So for me as a filmmaker, I'm going to start with that to kind of scope the landscape and to show you guys how broad to make your search and how niche to make your search. So if I just start with a search of filmmaking, we're going to see here that the search volume, there's almost 70,000 people in the last month searching this topic, okay? And we're going to see the overall score is 57. Personally, I don't really go after videos that are lower than a score of, I would say 70. You can see that my scores here that I actually take the time to put on my list are really in the high 80s. There's a few little more niche ones here in the low 70s, but you can see the majority of these numbers are in the 80s. It's very difficult to find a topic these days on YouTube that isn't already pretty taken over. But basically, what you want to be doing here is you don't want to be creating videos in topics that are too niche down here. Like if we see how to start filmmaking, it has an overall score of 21, and it doesn't even have enough data of monthly searches to show up on here. So we can know ahead of time. You know, in my mind, I would think that a lot of people would be searching this kind of topic. So I would be like, okay, cool. I'm going to make a video on YouTube titled How to Start Filmmaking. But if I were to take the time to just search this up real quick before I actually set up the video, filmed the video, edited the video, uploaded the video, did all of that, and then didn't get any hits on it and it didn't really get any traction, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. And the other thing here that's pretty interesting is we have two very similar wording styles here. How to learn filmmaking. This has got almost double the monthly. Let me select these here for you. This has got almost double the monthly not the monthly, the overall search rating just in this small little change of wording. Okay. So that is a very, very interesting thing to be aware of when you're searching on the site. But let's keep moving here. And so if we go into filmmaking, which is okay, you know, it's a 57. I really wouldn't go for that type of topic. It's okay to have that keyword in the title of your video because that's going to help you get into this type of search when people are searching online. But you don't want to create a video that's just centered around that topic, okay? You want to you want to dive in here into the data a little bit more to find better keywords or topics to really center your video around. So these are all related keywords to the original topic that we searched. Now, if I just kind of breeze over this with my eyes here, I can see that cinematography is decent. Okay, the overall score is 51, and the search volume is pretty decent. It's 120,000 searches per month. Now, the search score is the measure of how popular this keyword is on YouTube for search results. The higher the number, the better. So if it has a low search score, then that means that this keyword is not that popular in comparison to all the other keywords on YouTube. 64 is pretty decent. The competition score is measured of how many other videos are out there that you would be competing against with people that have already created a topic with this keyword or created a video in this topic with this keyword. The lower number, the better, okay? I don't really pay attention too much to these two middle columns. I'm really looking at the search volume and this overall score, which is basically a synthesis of these three numbers. So you can look here, you can look here, and you can look here, or you just basically let them do the math for you, and will give you an average of what all of these equal in correspondence to how good of a direction it is to do this type of video. But for me, I'm looking at the search volume because I want to see how many searches are happening every month and I want to see the overall score. But let's say that we want to go after cinematography. Okay, I'm going to click on that keyword to see what's going to pop up under it and give me more insight into good possible directions for video. So in looking at this, I can see that, filmmaking pops up again. That's pretty obvious. But what we can do is change the orientation of this list. Let's say that I want to do a video on cinematography, but I want to really attach something in that video that gets searched a lot, that I know is going to get a lot of traction. So if I click search volume, it's going to basically organize this list in accordance to how many times it's being searched a month. You can see Peter McKinnon, boom, killing it, okay? You can see actual film theory is really high up there. So if I want to, that would show me, okay, cool. And actually Premiere Pro is really high up there as well. So, you can kind of see here that, let's say, film theory. So then you could create an actual video around cinematography's relationship to film theory and how those two things mesh together. What's the overlap? What's the crossover? How can other video creators better use the information from these two keywords and topics to create better videos? So you're looking at these keywords, you're looking at this data, and you're finding out what tools you can put together to give value to your audience and to other people who would stumble across your videos from searching these keywords. So that should be a pretty good understanding of how you can really use this tool for free and start creating better videos with better traction. So if we move back over to the Google Doc that I have here, you can see that I've really dove into this and gone down the rabbit hole and found some really good scoring topics to go after. So if we look at documentary filmmaking tips, this has got a search volume of 15 million a month and an overall score of 87. And we look at cinematic vlogs, 600,000 a month, overall score of 85. These would all be YouTube video tutorials that I would create. How to produce cinematic vlogs, my top 10 documentary filmmaking tips, the best Lightroom presets that I use, you know, how to better shoot travel vlogs and come up with better vlog ideas, okay? 160,000 searches a month, and it's got a score of 80, which means it's got a pretty low competitor rate. I wouldn't be going up against too many people. So you're going to use that search, and then you're going to create your own list. And like I said, make this list into a schedule. Knock out one video a week. Knock out one video a month. You can take this in so So now we've got video IQ pretty figured out. Let's move on to Google Trends data. And I have a list here of some previous, research research that I've done using Google Trends. This is for my Life Academy platform that has more well-being, wellness, personal development, self-awareness courses. So I'm searching here outside of the filmmaking topics, but this is just a previous list that I compiled. You can see that there's different topics with different scores between 0 and 100. Like I mentioned before, the closer to 100, the better. So let's take a look at what this actually is appearing like on the Google Trends platform. So if we come here to Google Trends, you don't have to create, you might need to actually have a Google account. I'm not sure. Regardless, though, it's completely free. So to show an example, I am recording this during kind of the tail end of the wild coronavirusness. But if we go here, you can see it's the red line is coronavirus. So we can see the trends of it being not very highly searched. The weather, it was a 19 out of 100, and coronavirus was a 7, February 3rd. Okay. And as we move on here, February 14th, 16th, 17th, 18th, there's a slight spike where on February 27th, it was probably showing up in the news, on articles, on websites. Searching for coronavirus using Google beat people Googling the weather. Okay. That's a pretty big sign of some change starting to happen. And then you can see that about a week, 2 weeks later, we're at 38 out of 100 in relevancy, and it just has a massive spike here and peaks at its absolute highest in demand, highest searches, highest engagement, highest amount of interest of people searching this term on May 12th. That was the first explosion of it. And you can see it, really probably in the news a lot, really showing up on a lot of websites. And it kind of comes back down throughout April. People kind of relax, and you can kind of see the data. So the interesting thing about this is it shows a linear progression and decline of a specific topic. So I'm sure you're probably putting together in your mind how this can be pretty beneficial in conjunction with the vidIQ stuff, because the vidIQ is not really going to show you where topics are going. This is going to show you where topics have been and where they're going. And that's why I like to use this tool with the other tools. So let's look at a more applicable example to a video creator. If I search the word, let's say editing, let's say color correction, I can see here that it's kind of, it's going up and down, of course. This is showing you a 12-month period. And the overall score is going to be a rating between from exactly a year ago to exactly now. How much more or less is it being searched every one of these weeks? The highest, the 98 here, is a 98 because it was searched the most that week. Every other week is in comparison to the highest number and the lowest number. So it's relatively the baseline. There's not really anything active or increasing or decreasing about this specific topic. It doesn't mean it's not good to go after, but all that it's saying is that it's not on an upward trend, and it's not something that you really want to be creating a video about as soon as possible because it's not going up or down. Now let's take it out of the context of just video topic, and let's search something that we know has definitely been trending relatively, in the last year or so. And we search Twitch. We'll be able to see here that, okay, at the beginning of June 30th, 2019, it was at a 62, okay? And we can see as the year progresses, it kind of stays the same. But actually, and this is funny that it's kind of looking like it's linked to coronavirus a little bit here. And that's kind of the interesting connection here is that Google Trends is going to show you the world trends, and a lot of these trends are connecting with each other. So there's a lot of overlap. There's a lot of reasons why certain topics go up. But if I were to look at, well, let's get back to what this is doing. So we can see that at the beginning of March, it spiked, started to go up from a 50, hit 70, hit 85, hit its peak in April, and is still really high. Now it's in the 80s, 90s, and 97. So we know that this is a very, very lucrative topic to go after, to have in the description of your video, to have in the title of your video, to have in your hashtags, to really, yeah, to produce a video around this topic. If we were to look at just the vidIQ stuff, we might not be able to see that this is now the time to produce a video in this genre. It's great to strike when the iron's hot, right? We want to know what our audience is doing, what is the collective communication that's going on, and that's really should be guiding us towards the videos that we are creating. If we scroll down here, we can get some more interesting facts here of specifically if you know that you have a lot of viewership in certain regions. We can also look on a worldwide view instead of just the United States. We can see there's still that same increase, but we'll be able to see in what countries those increases are really happening inside. And if we scroll down, of course, we can see some related topics and related searches, which can be extremely helpful. That is how I come up with my lists, because I go into a specific topic and then I'll go down that rabbit hole of that topic and I'll look at the keywords that are similar. Because if this is doing well, keywords that are doing well are also really great to go after, because it's going to start to give you more ideas and different directions. So once you've gone through here and searched your different topics, let's say instead of filmmaking or Twitch, let's say that you do videos on bird watching, because that's what's popping up here. We can see that that has relatively spiked recently. So if at the beginning of May or at the middle of May, I was in this area and I could see this happening while I was searching, boom, this would be the time to really show up on the first page search results on YouTube and on Instagram and on all the other platforms with this topic. That would be the perfect time to really, make an impact and gain a lot of new viewers, a lot of new subscribers, and a lot of new followers. We'll be able to see, of course, the other related terms and the reason that this is popping up. So if we look here, we can see a 700% increase in this Central Park related topic. And we can kind of go down this rabbit hole and find other types of video topics. So that really gives us plenty of data, plenty of information to have confidence that a video topic that we want to create is going to be as successful as possible before going into production or pre-production. Now, this next step is just a little bit of a bonus to really find out. It's helpful to find out, if people are willing to pay or spend money on this specific topic. This doesn't relate to everyone, but if you are a, I don't know, beauty blogger on Instagram or YouTube, and you also sell, makeup products, or you're a filmmaker and you also sell LUT packs, color correction, color created, graded preset packs, transition packs, you'll be able to then take the information from these previous searches that you know is performing well and plug it into Udemy to find out how much these topics are turning as a monthly amount of revenue, how much money they're bringing in monthly. So so I'm going to click over to Udemy here. Now, you're going to have to create a profile first. It's free, but that's going to be the first step before you can actually access the Market Insights tool on Udemy. So you're going to go to udemy.com. I'm going to log into my account here. And once you sign up on Udemy, before you can actually access the Insights tool, there's going to be something up here where it says become a teacher or become an instructor, something of that nature. And you're going to have to do that before accessing the tool, because just as a student, it won't give you access to this back end information. So I'm going to click my instructors tab because I've already signed up, obviously, to be a teacher on Udemy. And I'm going to go to the tools tab here on the left. and I'm going to click the Market Insights tool. And if you have a hard time finding this and you haven't found out how to become an instructor on the platform, you can Google it or go to the FAQ. It'll show you screenshots on how to do it, but I didn't want to explain that in this tutorial because then it would make it way too long. I really want to focus on what's most important for you. But with that said, we're going to click the Market Insights tool. And we're going to be able to see here the trend of a specific topic, kind of similar to Google Trends. And we're going to be able to see the amount of revenue. So if we type in filmmaking, here we can see the student demand. You want that high. I think that's pretty obvious. And we can see the number of courses. This is your competition. We want that as low as possible. Now we have our median revenue. You really don't want to pay too much attention to that unless you're really looking to create a course around the specific topic. That number is not too important. But what you want to actually see here is what's the potential? What's the amount of money that people are paying for, the top performing courses in this genre? This is just kind of a nice icing on the cake with the other two tools that we're using. This is the third tool that really gives us the green light on what will work. So we can see that clearly people are really willing to pay decent amount of money for content in this genre. Now we can also see it's on the 96th percentile, which is really excellent. There's a lot of courses on Udemy, and this means it's in the top 96% of being highly searched. We can also see the trends here that's showing the rise and decline of the specific topic. And this is really handy. We can see the top keyword searches, which shows us people that are searching filmmaking are also searching film, YouTube, storyboarding, and cinematography. And the other topics of interest is pretty handy as well. You can actually click through and physically just keep going down the dang rabbit hole and seeing, okay, we're moving from filmmaking to videography, which is in the same type of genre. High demand. We want a high demand. We want a low number of courses, ideally. We want a decent amount of monthly revenue. We want it in a high searched percentile. I say only 80 and above is really worth your time. And we can click through to cinematography and see what the numbers are for this. So it's pretty decent. Still high demand, still a decent amount of monthly revenue, high search percentile. And it'll even give you some more information down here. You really don't need to dive into this stuff too much unless you're actually a Udemy instructor. So if you are, I'd really recommend searching more information around these specific numbers. But if you're a YouTuber or someone creating content on Instagram, that's not too important what's going down because these are just very specific to the platform itself. And you want just an overall view of topics being searched throughout the internet. So if we hop back over to our Google Drive, we see the topics that I found are good directions to go in. We have video editing that's high demand, high competition. That's not ideal. But if you create a course that's different and it stands out, it'll perform pretty well. And then we have stuff that's high demand with low competition, which is excellent, like documentary filmmaking, which isn't bringing in as much revenue per month, but there's a lot lower competition, so there's a lot less people